All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, I have a special treat, one that's near and dear to my heart. We have what I've been telling my friends and family is Brutus the Buckeye, Mr. Ryan Willis, um, joining the show. Thank you for being on, Ryan.
Woo.
Absolutely.
When I say Brutus the Buckeye, we have the man behind Brutus the Buckeye, who played Brutus the Buckeye. I, is this well known that you played Brutus the Buckeye? Like, I know you have to keep it a secret.
Well, first of all, I am going to correct you just because my mom did this when I first made the team.
Okay.
And honestly, I did it. There's no the in between Brutus Buckeye.
Okay.
It's just the first and last name.
Huh.
Um,
There's an article that's not present, is what we're saying. An article of English language that's not part of that. It happens to be
exactly.
the one that Jim always likes to use. So.
I do use it a lot.
And Ohio State also loves to use that particular article.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, yeah, it's just Brutus Buckeye.
Brutus Buckeye. I
Yeah.
just learned from today.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
what a great Ohio State fan Jim is.
Hey, I thought it was that at one point, and I'll tell you about when I finally learned. But your question was, is it well known? Or
Yeah, is it well known that you're the man behind the head?
It wasn't until about, what day is it? It wasn't until about 20 days ago when I graduated, and then I could tell everybody.
So tell us how you got the role. That's how I'd like to start is how did you become Brutus Buckeye?
Yeah, so I was living in the dorms freshman year. Was not doing anything athletic related. In high school, I wanted to play lacrosse at Ohio State, but I kind of gave up on those dreams. But anyway, I was in the dorms, and then eventually I moved out, and I found a group of guys right off campus that three of them happened to be male cheerleaders. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, I don't know anything about cheerleading, but neither did they at first because they played football and lacrosse in high school, and so did I. And so they're just like, yeah, you don't really need to know much. You just need to kind of be moderately athletic. And these guys are all freak athletes, and the cheerleading team at OSU is pretty darn serious. Like, it's probably consistently, at least when it comes to competitive cheer, I don't know. They're probably top 3 in the nation, consistently. And basically they're really strict, or the coach there is pretty strict and runs a tight ship. And one of my roommates, his name was Grant. He kind of just, kind of had enough of the cheerleading world, and under the same umbrella of the spirit team is the mascot team. And the cheer team would be doing their routines like drill sergeant style, and then they would look over to the side, and there was the mascot team just having a ball and messing around, having a good time. And Grant's like, man, I want to be a part of that. And so he quits the cheer team, and he already has an inside connection with the coach of the mascot team. And he tries out, and lo and behold, he becomes Brutus Buckeye. And I just remember being like, my roommate is Brutus Buckeye. What the heck?
Yeah,
this is the guy. And and so for two years of me living with him, he was Brutus, and I got to take him to certain events across campus. If he had to be at a baseball game, he would literally walk out of our house in the suit, and I would just drive him to the event. And as he was graduating, he knew it was something that I kind of had pondered about maybe trying out for. And the coach knew me at this point, just from helping out in little ways that I can, mostly giving him rides. And he said, dude, you can do this. And he helped me try out, and I did. And I got to don the head. So that's pretty much it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's just by knowing somebody, you got in.
Yeah, it was literally the group of guys I chose to live with off campus happened to just bring me to this awesome gig that is unlike anything else. So
What is the tryout process like? You said you had
Right.
to try out. Like, how intense is that?
yeah, so it's like there's like 3 to 4 parts to it. It varies every year, or minor changes to it. But first, you need to come up with a skit. You have 2 minutes. It's like 2 minutes of whatever you want. Ideally, if you want a good chance of making the team, you want a pretty easy to understand plot. Also, you're in the suit, so you can't talk. So your story, you need to be able to communicate a story without talking. The first part is a skit. The second part is like kind of improv and situations. And so they'll say, okay, Brutus, like it's Saturday at noon, you're leading the band out and you're running onto the field and you look down and you forgot your shoes or your pants. What do you do? And then you literally just have to act out what you would do until they say stop. And like a lot of times, like you might run out of ideas, and if they haven't said stop, like you just got to keep going and like run with it. And so yeah, like situations like Brutus, you're in a supermarket and you just bumped into this little girl and now she's crying. What do you do? Or give me like signature moves, like show me an OHIO or like stuff like that. And so that's part 2. Part 3 is they put you in a team setting. So they put you with the current team, but you don't know who the current team is because it's like a bunch of random guys and some of the other people that are trying out. They divide you up in teams, and you have to like either create like you're given like a task, and they want to see how you work with team members. And it also gives the current team a chance to know like, do we want this guy on our team? Like, do we work well with him? Like, is he funny or is he kind of weird? Like, do I want to even like be in a room with this guy for more than an hour? Like, so you kind of like they get a
the interview within the interview.
Yeah, exactly. And they're just seeing for chemistry. And then the final thing is an interview, and it's with a panel of past alumni, as well as the head coach and assistant coach. And they ask you questions like, how are you going to keep the head safe? Can you keep a secret? Like, how is your time management? And why do you want to be Brutus? And stuff like that. So it's mainly those 4 parts, and in pretty much that order. And yeah.
So the secret of being Brutus, you had to keep that for how long?
From when I made it the team to like graduation day. And of course, like it's kind of hard to hide that secret from your 6 roommates, like, and your parents, and like, and they understand like, hey, like you gotta keep this a secret, like, for the sake of, you're representing the university. Like, what's to stop me from running down High Street, not in an appropriate manner,
Right.
with the head on, like, and like my name's attached to that. And but yeah, so I've had to keep it a secret for the last 2 years, but of course, like my best friends and like a handful of people are gonna know, but they also understand. Like, I asked them like, hey, can you keep this under wraps just
Right.
until I'm done? But
So you were Brutus for a regular season and then a pandemic season.
yeah.
So how weird was a pandemic season?
Well, that's the heartbreaker is, so I went to school for 6 years, and I pretty much could have graduated in 4, but I took a semester off for an internship, and then I got a minor, which added a 5th year. My 5th year was my first year of being Brutus. That year was so extraordinary and just so much fun. Like, I can't describe. Like, I wish you guys could just. I can't describe it. It was so much fun that I was like, I got to come back for another year. Like, I'm done with school pretty much, but I will literally just like take classes just so I can be Brutus again. And I also didn't entirely know what I wanted to do with my life anyway, so I was like, can't hurt to buy some more time. And so going into the 6th year, I was like, all right, I'm committed. I didn't know that there was about to be a pandemic, and neither did anybody else.
Right. Right.
And it was tough, especially because I was the only graduating senior. So like all of the guys that were on the team last year are back for a regular season now, and I kind of was the only person that really got gypped. But we all got gypped last year. But during the pandemic season, like a lot of what we did was just grow our social media. We became one of the most followed, I believe, one of the most followed accounts on TikTok. We're definitely the top followed mascot on TikTok, but we did a lot of viral videos. There's a video of me at my parents' house. I'm in the Brutus suit, and I toss from across the room as I'm walking. I toss 2 pieces of bread into a toaster and get them right in. And that was fun. And then something I got to do with my roommates during like the first week of quarantine, because we were all losing our minds, was we made a Ruth Goldberg machine. How's that? What are those things?
Rube Goldberg.
Yeah. And so my campus house is 3 stories high, and literally from across the street, I'm Brutus, and I have like a fishing pole, and I'm across the street from my house, and I literally do a little tug, and it causes this chain reaction of this ping pong ball all from the 3rd floor of our house all the way down to the parking lot. And my roommates and I'm Brutus, like in this video, and we all just go nuts, and that ended up getting on ESPN. So we filled our time during COVID. It was a lot of fun ways to keep us occupied, but it didn't come close to leading the team out of the tunnel on a Saturday.
Right.
But yeah.
So what is your overall favorite memory of being Brutus?
That's tough. That's a very common question.
I bet.
Yeah.
You have a better one, Jim? Ask the question that everyone else asks. Come on now.
No. I like it.
I mean, I gotta get to that one. That one's to me. And then I got so many more, but yeah.
I kind of go back and forth between 3, because one's like epic, one's sentimental, and then one's just like bigger than myself. The first is when I made the team. The way they revealed that to me was this kind of epic secret way that I can't really share, because if anybody,
you're good.
Yeah, if any future Brudi hear this, then I don't want to ruin that for them. But I just remember getting to do that with my roommate, who I'm very close with to this day, and I just really appreciated him taking the time to really help me make this elite society, because there's only been under 90 in history. And so the second one, the epic one, is just, it was the Miami game, Miami Ohio game, and it was like 10 minutes till kickoff, and I was just on the 50-yard line, and I was commanding the stadium in OHIO, and just kind of felt like a scene out of Gladiator. Like, are you not entertained?
Right.
Starting OHIO, and then getting to do flips and just have fun. Like, you're 110,000 people are looking at you, and when is Ryan Willis ever gonna have that chance? And then my final one that's kind of tied for favorite memory is just getting to go to visit the hospital at the Wexner, and all the kids that think you are a superhero, and in reality you're just a sweaty student who is struggling in calculus, and you're like, I'm stressed out and need to go study, but this kid thinks I'm the best thing in the world, and so I'm going, and he's battling cancer, and I'm gonna make this his best experience ever. And
right.
like I can give up part of my day literally for this. So I'd say it was those three.
And I think that a lot of times, and I'm guilty of it, is we think Brutus goes to the games, gets the crowd hyped, and disappears. But a lot of events, especially, I mean, here in Columbus, a lot of events, here comes Brutus. How much outside of the game events do you have to go to?
So much. Like, you got weddings, you got corporate events, you've got university sponsored events, you've got hockey, basketball, football, you've got people who will literally just hire you to show up at a birthday party. When they say hire you, they pay to have Brutus show up through a link that the Spirit program puts on, and that money goes directly into our scholarships, into growing, and like providing us clean uniforms and stuff. So like we don't get paid other than through scholarships to pay for like tuition and stuff. But yeah, like I think last year there was 300 to 4, not last year because of COVID, but during 2019, which would be a regular season, there was 300 to 400 events. And so like, you know, you wake up, go to class, and you might have to be somewhere in like Delaware County, do an event, rush back, take off like your sweaty like uniform, go to class, and then you got to be at practice, and then like it's just bang bang bang, and you're constantly just always going. So that's why in the interview they'll be like, how's your time management skills?
Right, yeah. And you're an engineer major, so
Yeah.
It wasn't like you were, you know, underwater basket weaving. You were an engineer major doing all of this.
Yeah, I will say I was lucky enough that I tried out in the latter half of my engineering career, because I don't know if I had been able to juggle this early on, but after knowing how much fun this was, I would have made myself do it. I would have figured it out. But yeah, I mean, you still gotta you gotta study. Like our coaches have high expectations for our GPA. One of my teammates actually, I'm gonna shoot. Oh man, I can't out him. Never mind. Man, I was close enough. But one of my teammates, he is studying biomedical engineering. He got a 99 in the 99th percentile on the MCAT. He's going to like medical school, and he's just a straight up genius, and he downplays it. Like you would never know until the coach starts like bragging about him. But nonetheless, like we do intensive. A lot of us are in either pre-med or engineering, and so outside of this, we're studying. So,
jeez, wow.
Yeah, it's a full-time job. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So, as far as the games go, is there any mascot rivalry issues that you've run into?
Weirdly, all the Big Ten mascots, like all the teams, like we're pretty close. We're specifically close with the Wisconsin Bucky Badger team, because our assistant coach was Bucky Badger in like 2006 or whatever, and so he's pretty close with that team and that program. And so whenever they come to Columbus for a game, we'll all like get dinner at a house and like hang out. But other than that, yeah, we're all pretty close. I'd say there's a weird rivalry between us and Auburn. It's not every day you get to like we encounter them, but during the summers we go to like UCA mascot camp. It's funny to say this out loud because you're like, mascot camp, like
no, you're good.
What does that entail? And honestly, it's just a bunch of guys from a bunch of universities and goofing off. But there's a lot, like there's some competition aspects to the camp, and like Auburn and Brutus low key just got a rivalry, and so yeah. So
I would have never guessed.
Yeah. So Avi, if you're listening to this, watch yourself.
So I'll be the Tigers going down.
Yeah.
when it comes to the game with the team up north,
Yeah.
I have always feared for Brutus's safety, no matter where you are, whether it's Columbus or Ann Arbor. I fear for your safety.
Yeah.
What do they do for you in terms of like hostile environments?
Okay, in terms of hostile environments.
Like, I can see a crazy drunk fan just throwing some ignorant stuff at you.
Yeah, well, that definitely happens. I can't say I've experienced the game. I was supposed to this past year, but
I'm sorry, bud.
yeah, it's all good. They were too scared to play us anyway. So,
Amen.
but when it comes to that, like we have a handler, and what that is they are pretty much our teammates that just walk around, and they're always within about 20 to 30 feet of us. Like, they realize they don't need to be like on us like glue, but they're in the background. It's kind of like just like undercover, low key, but they're there to help. Like, if somebody needs to have a picture taken, or somebody's getting rough with Brutus, they can be the mouth of Brutus and also like kind of handle the situation, and they know how to go about that. But there have been situations where either the handler was not around, or there just wasn't a handler, period. Very rarely does that happen. But we kind of use our intuition on what to do. You're still in suit, you're representing the university. If you do something like, everybody's got a smartphone, and so like you can't be doing anything too retaliating, but at the same time you can low-key defend yourself. Like, some guys have gotten rough with me and like have forgotten that there's a human being under there.
Yeah.
And they kind of grab you, and they just expect you to take a picture with them. And if anybody ever grab you, like, you just kind of, I would break character and kind of just shove them away, and like they would kind of be like kind of shook that Brutus just got a little rough with them, and I was like,
hey, gotta defend yourself.
Don't act shocked, like,
right.
Well, other than that, yeah, like you kind of just know when you feel out the situation, when you need to leave. As fun as it may be to instigate it, and because it's Brutus's word against theirs. Like,
right,
we're winning that 10 times out of 10. Like, we've got Ohio State's lawyers behind us. Like, good luck winning that. Like,
right.
Yeah. I mean, we're generally pretty safe. We always got like an eye on us.
Good.
So.
When it comes to the weather, like in the hot Ohio summers, whenever it's like tomorrow, or cold, like maybe tomorrow, like the suit is good, bad, they set you up. How's that work?
Yeah, man, these are good questions. These are the questions people don't ask, and they should. Yeah, there is like a perfect temperature to be Brutus, and it's right around like 60 degrees, maybe 55, like where you're like running around and you're like not super hot, but you're like warm, and you're like, I'm content. Like, but when it gets super cold, like I've done some events where I'm just out in the cold, and all you're wearing under that jersey is like some shoulder pads and like a dry fit t-shirt, and so you don't have a ton of layers even when you're moving around, so it's still super cold. But on average, like football games or being inside, it is so hot and sweaty.
I bet.
And like we have the luxury of like the only thing we really wear is just like the head, whereas like Penn State Nittany Lion is wearing a carpet all over his body.
Looks like a carpet too. Sorry, Muff. Looks like a carpet too, buddy.
Oh, didn't you hear? It's like a fraternity, Jim. Calm down. Like, this isn't one against the other.
Right.
Shut your butt.
But you know, the one part of the uniform that typically gets the noticeably sweaty first is the pants, particularly the butt sweat. And so my teammates and I, we just, whether we'd be at a basketball game or just outside at a football game, there'd just be a streak up our backside, and people would be like, Brutus, you're sweaty. And I'm like,
You don't say.
Yeah, like, didn't know. Like, my bad.
There's not an air conditioning fan in here.
Yeah. But that Miami, Ohio game that I was talking about earlier, like, that was, I think, the hottest and most humid day of the year.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. Like, you're out there maintaining the crowd, but that was a hot game. I think I was at that game. That was not fun.
That was a very hot game, and my pants went from having like a streak to the entire uniform was a different shade of red.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was training for the Columbus Marathon, and I did my long runs on Saturday mornings. And so I had gotten up that day at like 4 a.m. and ran like 15, 16, 17 miles. And so I'm already dead, but you know, I had the adrenaline rush of like getting ready to go out in front of this crowd. But man, I was losing steam fast. And like, I think I went up to some suite up in the fancy dancy boxes that either sponsor us or contribute to our scholarship. So like, we'll pay a visit to them during games to like show our appreciation, take some pictures with their kids. And the one lady said like, Brutus does not look too good. And no, he did not, because he ended up going in the bathroom and putting his head under the sink. And then he came out like 30 seconds later and just put a thumbs up like, all right, I'm good to go. But that was a very hot game. And yeah, it's definitely gets sweaty in there.
Yeah.
But
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
So you mentioned things that can happen. Have you ever had any wardrobe malfunctions or anything that like you had to think on your feet? You said that was part of like the interview process. I'm just curious if you ever had to enact some of that critical thinking in the moment.
Yeah, because as Brutus, you're always thinking on your feet. Yeah, I'd say the one I was running. Yeah, have you guys ever been to a game during the 100-yard dashes?
Yes.
Those are so much fun. But I was running. The race I was running was at the Maryland game, so I believe it was like Veterans Day weekend. But it was halftime, and we take great pride in this. We do not want to lose to these students, even though they, like, I think if they win, then they get like some like small scholarship, and if they don't, then they don't. And we were like, we don't care. We're like, we gotta defend our perfect record.
Right.
And so I had been wanting to do this for a minute, and my coach finally was like, all right, Ryan, you're up. And so I was like nervous because the girl gets like a 15-yard head start. The previous week, my teammate got to race like not the most aerodynamic person ever. And so he blew them out of the water. And then like I get some girl who like the person who picked them out of the crowd was like, oh yeah, she used to run track. And I was like, okay, sweet. Like,
well, yeah, 200 meter, 400 meter. That's what we're working with
here. I'm like, this is great. And so they get a 15-yard head start and they go, and I come out of the gate like a bat out of hell, but my chin strap comes unbuttoned.
Oh. And
I'm in the center of the stadium of a football game, and I'm like, oh God. And so like I'm thinking, but at the same time I'm like, I gotta win. And so there's literally a video of me and my head is shaking back and forth, and like I'm like, do I win this and risk the head popping off, or do I lose this, swallow my pride, but like I protect the identity and I don't scar so many children?
Right.
I chose to win. but it was such a close call. There's a photo finish of like my hand crossing it right before she does. But they gave her the win, and if my teammates ever listen to this, they will give me trash till the cows come home saying, "Bro, you didn't win it," and I have photo evidence. My coach was sided with me, and he wanted to like run it back and like see it, but yeah, to this day, like they ruled it as a loss, but I know deep down, and I can prove it, that it was a win, and the head didn't come off. So that's the real win.
Yeah, you're a thoroughbred like Medina Spirit. Really,
Yeah,
you get the win. Although people may say you have a loss, but
yeah,
we know.
exactly.
Everyone
We know
knows.
you won.
Everyone knows. Yeah, and with that too. I mean, what would you say is the most like awkward encounter you had? Like I can imagine there's like the inebriated fans and the girls like, Brutus, make babies with me, or like saying they're really weird and odd stuff. Like for you, what was the most awkward encounter that you can say?
Yeah, I was like,
it's PG-13 ish.
yeah, man,
You can say
Yeah.
pass too.
You can
no,
pass.
I got like I can share this. Okay, well, the first one is kind of just a general rule of thumb that the team has noticed, or is a general trend, I should say. Grandmothers and bridesmaids at weddings and on the dance floor like to get handsy.
Wow, with Brutus. Huh.
And then the other weird encounter was like, it was one of my first events, and I was like at one of the hospital buildings on medical campus, and I was filming some like car seat commercial instructional video with this little kid, and the kid wasn't ready for Brutus. He like had to calm down because he was kind of at that awkward age where I kind of freak him out. And so they put me in this room full of all these like medical students, and I was in there for like 20 minutes, and like I'm new to the team, so I'm kind of like new to figuring out being in character, like figuring out my routine, or like how to think on my feet and improvise. And so I'm running out of material, and then I see this door, and my handler is like across the room, so he's keeping an eye on me, but he probably doesn't know what I'm about to do next. But I see this door, and I'm like, okay, I've exhausted all my options. Like, what's behind this door? And I open it, and it's literally this. It's an autopsy, or it's like some dude. There's a dead dude on the
A cadaver.
and yeah, cadaver, and somebody's just like working on whether this is like. I think it was for medical or educational purposes, or at least I hope it was. But I stayed in character, and all I did was playfully and slowly cover my mouth. And the guy looked at me, and I just kind of slowly shut the door, and then I skipped away as if nothing happened. And that was that. And then my handler comes up and says, "Yeah, Brutus, I don't think you were supposed to go into that one."
No.
I just shrugged and looked at him and said, "Whoops." Like,
yeah. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. But,
well, Ryan, your time as Brutus has come to an end. What are you going to do now? You've graduated. What is the plan now for Ryan?
The plan right now. Well, I am a full-time real estate agent for CRT Realtors. So I'm doing that right now. And I'm also starting a business with my roommate. We are hopefully getting to open a kombucha bar in the near future. I don't know how in the near future, but that's something fun that we've been doing. But in the meantime, I'm also just doing a little bit of everything. I plan to go back to school, not to be Brutus, unfortunately, but I totally would if I could. But
They don't let master students be
they
Brutus?
they do not. Otherwise, I would still be in school.
Yeah.
But yeah, so maybe more school in the future. But I still hope. I want to help out the current team in any way I can. So I might drop in every now and then and help where I can. But
are there perks now that you're an alumni of being Brutus?
you would think.
Yeah.
But not really. I think every year we get to, during the alumni game, like it's like early September, we get to be on the sidelines for like a quarter, which is cool, I guess. I'd rather be there the whole game, but yeah, I mean, just getting to be connected with other alumni and networking is, I'd say, a big perk. But no cool seats, discounts or whatever. Oh, you know what? There is one. At the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer, alumni get to be, or past Brutus alumni get to be Brutus for the cruise.
Oh, cool.
So like I may get to suit up truly one last time. But
that's cool.
Yeah. But
so do you get like a special like pin, a special? What did they give you on to note that hey, you were Brutus?
Yeah, they let us keep a jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, they let us keep a jersey, and I want to get it framed and kind of like look all cool, like. But I mean, I'm sure there's other things that I honestly can't even aren't coming to mind right now that I'm just going over my head. But yeah, I mean, because some people like I wore the Brutus hat, his iconic hat that he wears. I wore it on top of my graduation cap for graduation, and so many people were like, "Oh, dude, that's so cool! What a cool hat!" Or like, "That's such a cool like Brutus hat." And I'm like, "Bro, I was Brutus. You can poop like." And everybody is just not putting two and two together, and I was like, you know what? That just makes it better. Like,
yeah,
I'm still kind of got that Clark Kent vibe going.
Right.
So. Is that something that all people that are Brutus do at commencement?
Yeah, it's started recently, like in the last 3 to 4 years. Because other mascots at other schools will do that. Like I think the Nittany Lion will like wear his like feet or like whatever like the paws are, and then so will like Sparty. He'll wear some part of his uniform. But yeah, Brutus wears the hat and on top of the cap, and yeah, so it's pretty cool. I mean, if people do notice and do put two and two together, that's cool. But if people don't, then they don't deserve to know.
I think that's cool. Well, we would love to have you back on down the road if you want to come on for our Homer section.
Yeah, absolutely.
Homer, especially as you get your businesses rolling.
Yeah,
and we can talk shop. This has been fantastic. Thank you for sharing this. This was great.
Yeah, absolutely. This is I love getting to share this, and I can talk about this forever. I like when I meet people, I try to be humble, and I really don't ever lead with this. If they ask about it, I'll answer, and if they want me to continue to talk about it, I will. So this was, but I try not to because I don't like to monopolize conversations. But this is cool to get to share.
Yeah, and let me tell you, you brought a lot of joy to my kids. I can tell you that because my child is obsessed with Brutus. So
great.
Thank you from us.
Yeah.
And go to Ryan for all of your real estate needs. If you're looking for a house, apartment, or anything in the Columbus area? ?
Yeah. Yes, please. Brutus Buckeye will help you get a home.
There you go.
Brutus is for the people.
Yeah, exactly.